1, 2. Is this on?
WrestleMania is the grandest stage of them all, and that means it plays host to the biggest matches in all of wrestling. And with the stakes so high and the occasion so massive, superstars will stop at nothing to pull out all the stops. And this means finding the intestinal fortitude to keep getting back up. Just when you think they're down and out after being hit with a spectacular finishing move, somehow they manage to kick out. And with the crowd and their opponent completely in shock, just like that, you've got a WrestleMania moment.
Good night, Daniel. The yes movement just died. Not words, yes!
So let's take a look at some of these incredible moments as we run down 10 of the craziest kickouts in WrestleMania history. Number 10, Warrior kicks out of 5 elbow drops. We start in the year 1991 for our first entry, as the Macho King Randy Savage took on the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 7 in a match where the loser must retire. The Warrior was up against it due to constant outside interference from Sensational Sherry, and despite the Warrior's best efforts, Savage looked to have him beat as the Macho King went to the top rope to hit his patented elbow drop, but Savage believed it would take more than one to keep Warrior down, but then 2 elbow drops turned into 3, then 4, but the Macho King still wasn't done until finally hitting a 5th elbow drop and going for the cover, but somehow the Warrior kicked out.
What a display here! Monster, 1, 2. No, I don't believe it!
This was in an era where kicking out of finishing moves was very rare, so it was a shock for everyone to see the Warrior being able to get the shoulder up after receiving 5 finishes in a row. Savage would even be able to kick out of the running splash later on, but wasn't able to ultimately defeat the Warrior. Number 9, Sid kicks out of the leg drop. Just a year after Warrior defeated Savage, Hulk Hogan wrestled Sid in the main event of WrestleMania 8. It looked like business as usual for Hogan after hitting his iconic leg drop. Everyone was expecting that to be that, but Sid was able to kick out, which stunned the fans. Someone kicking out of Hogan's leg drop was unheard of at the time. In fact, Sid would be the first wrestler to ever do so in the WWF.
Folks, they're looking to drop the leg. He did. It's all over. No.
But Sid wasn't actually scripted to kick out of the leg drop, as Papa Shango was meant to interfere and break up the pin, causing the DQ, but Papa Shango missed his cue, meaning he was late coming down to the ring, leaving Sid no choice but to get his shoulder up. Number 8, Roman Reigns kicks out of 5 F5s. Now before this clash at WrestleMania 34, Roman had garnered somewhat of a reputation for kicking out of finishers at the grandest stage of them all.
It's Anger the King. Pedigree. Over. Hook of the leg. Reigns kicked out. Still in it. Good night. Real the tombstone. This should do it right here. Oh my God. You're kidding me. Reigns got a shoulder up.
He had even kicked out of the F5 once before at WrestleMania 31.
Third F5. And he connects. Mercifully, that's over. And Roman Reigns at 2.5.
And going into WrestleMania 34, every indication seemed that Brock Lesnar was headed back to the UFC. And it also looked clear based on how the storyline played out on television that the plan was for Roman Reigns to kick out of the F5 and win the Universal Championship. So it was no surprise then when he kicked out of the first F5.
An F5. Kicked out by Reigns.
But then he kicked out of a second.
With more impact. And Roman Reigns again stays alive.
Then got his shoulder up after a third.
And a third F5. Championship Reigns.
Absurdly enough, he kicked out of a 4th, this one through a table.
Not an F5 out of the table and through the table.
It seemed destined that he would win when he miraculously kicked out of a 5th F5.
Number 5 at WrestleMania. Reigns again.
Many have said that this was overkill, but surprisingly enough, Reigns eventually did succumb to a 6th F5 and lost the match. Had the crowd actually been more into this match, this entry may have made it higher on our list. Number 7, Stone Cold kicks out of the Rock Bottom. 2 years after their clash at WrestleMania 17, The Rock and Austin locked up one more time at WrestleMania 19. And while Mania 17 said farewell to the Attitude Era, this match was somewhat of a last hurrah for the 2 biggest stars of the Attitude Era. Stone Cold was 2-0 over The Rock at WrestleMania, meaning it was do or die for the People's Champion. We would see a series of finishing moves being delivered.
It's over. The Rock. No, it's not. My God, it's not over.
But the true final blow appeared to come after a series of counters, ending with the Great One hitting a second rock bottom to Austin. 1, 2, and Stone Cold kicked out, as the fans' faces mirrored the Rock's. but Austin was on his last legs, barely getting to his feet only to be hit with a third and deciding rock bottom. WrestleMania 19 proved to be Austin's final round, as he ended his in-ring career, while The Rock would wrestle one more match before going to Hollywood full-time. Number 6, Rock kicks out of the AA.
Now the AA had been kicked out of a fair few times before at the grandest stage of them all.
Time will, yes! Got the cover, over the leg, and a 3. Oh, no! She's got it! Team adjustment, cover! New champion, no! What? Crack! Oh! What an attitude adjustment! Oh my goodness!
But this time was different, given how hyped the match had been and how much Cena was the clear favourite to win.
Just like Hogan passed the torch to The Rock, many speculated if The Rock would do the same to John Cena at WrestleMania 28, in what was perhaps the biggest WrestleMania match since Rock Hogan. And in The Rock's hometown of Miami, the stage was set for this once-in-a-lifetime encounter. After hitting 2 attitude adjustments in the match, Cena hooked the leg, but The Rock managed to kick out, as the pro-Rock crowd reacted in approval, while at the same time thinking how close Cena was to victory. Number 5, HBK kicks out of a top rope angle slam. Shawn Michaels vs Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 21 had all the makings of a 5-star classic, and the match more than lived up to the hype while both men put in stellar performances. It was anyone's guess who would come out on top, but we all thought it was over when Kurt Angle ran up the rope to hit a top rope angle slam to Shawn, but it couldn't get the job done. The speed at which Angle scaled to the top was amazing, but add to that an elevated version of his already impressive finishing maneuver, and you have a spot that surely could have been the finish.
Oh, the angle slam off the top! Oh, the cover! The 3! Oh, no!
Angle was able to pick up the victory, however, using a grapevine version of the ankle lock. Number 4,
Austin struggles to put The Rock down.
WrestleMania 17 closed the curtain on the Attitude Era, and there couldn't have been a more fitting main event than Stone Cold Steve Austin vs The Rock. The 2 biggest stars of their era gave us a match we'll never forget, as we were left guessing as to what the finish would be.
Rock had previously kicked out of the Stunner at WrestleMania 15. But this match felt a lot more significant. Rock first kicked out of the rock bottom by Austin, which was expected. He then kicked out of a chair shot to the head from Vince McMahon, where the crowd thought it could be over in a typical screwjob fashion, but no, The Rock continued to stay alive. Then a Stone Cold Stunner with The Rock's signature cell job looked to have sealed the deal for the Texas Rattlesnake.
But miraculously, it only garnered 2.
Austin then swung for the fences with a steel chair, and the crowd for sure thought that that was over, but it still couldn't get the job done with the crowd at fever pitch.
Oh, for God's sakes!
But that kick out may have been all The Rock had left, as after being subjected to a steel chair beatdown, that was all she wrote, as Austin would do the unthinkable and side with his greatest rival, Vince McMahon, to put a bow on the Attitude Era. Number 3, Rock kicks out of the leg drop. The Rock vs Hulk Hogan was the dream match of all dream matches, as 2 of the biggest icons in wrestling faced off in the showpiece match at WrestleMania 18. With the crowd firmly in Hogan's favor, the Hulkster looked all set to claim another WrestleMania victory with his signature leg drop, but the People's Champion dug down deep to kick out, which sent the Toronto Skydome into a simultaneous roar, as they couldn't believe what they were seeing. And it was the crowd's electricity that eventually lit a fire under The Rock, which led to the Great One securing the win over Hollywood Hogan, with the 2 wrestlers showing the respect they have for one another in the post-match by shaking hands. Number 2, HBK kicks out of the Tombstone. The Undertaker defending his WrestleMania undefeated streak was a once-a-year tradition, as many wrestlers would try and fail to defeat the Dead Man at the Showcase of the Immortals, but not for the want of trying, leading to some of the greatest WrestleMania matches and moments.
It was always surprising when someone would kick out of his Tombstone piledriver, because there was always an expectation for Taker to win.
Undertaker with a Tombstone! Oh God! Nobody's ever done that! Piledriver falling down to the ring. Tombstone delivered. Wow! There's 1 and 2. A new champion. Kicked out.
and none were more shocking than when Taker battled Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25.
The Phenom looked to keep the Heartbreak Kid down with the Tombstone piledriver, but Michaels would kick out too, leading to one of the most memorable images in WrestleMania history, as Taker lay there absolutely dumbfounded that Shawn was able to get the shoulder up. It was one more Tombstone that was able to pin Michaels for the 3, as The Undertaker made it 17-0 at WrestleMania. Number 1, Taker kicks out of a Superkick pedigree combo. By 2012, The Undertaker's WrestleMania streak felt unbreakable.
Many superstars came extremely close to breaking the streak over the years.
Tombstone! Unbelievable! He kicked out! Oh my God! What the hell is this? For the love of God! Oh, the Undertaker got his shoulder up! There's Arn Anderson! Arn Anderson! It's over! He got it! He got it! Oh God! Undertaker kicked out! It's going for a ride! It's not for the cover! It's all over! The undefeated streak is over! And Undertaker kicked out! Batista ball! And he got him! And Undertaker rolled the shoulder up! Oh, spear! Spear! 1, 2! Undertaker kicked out! Up. There it is! Music again! And again! Good God Almighty, the match continues! Watch it! Sweet shit! Music! Michaels has done it! No!
But Shawn Michaels and Triple H had already failed twice to defeat Taker on the grandest stage, but the end of an era match at WrestleMania 28 firmly stacked the deck against Taker as he faced off with Triple H inside Hell in a Cell, with the game's longtime friend Shawn Michaels as special referee. Triple H had come so close to breaking the streak at WrestleMania the year prior.
This is too much! Oh! Irony! What did we just see? What did we just see?
So now with his best friend as the referee, this was the game's best chance, as Taker was stepping in the ring with two people who wanted the streak to end, and end it so nearly did, as a sweet chin music and pedigree combination looked to have finally beaten the Phenom at WrestleMania, but the dead man stayed alive, and not a soul in the arena could believe it.
Oh, champion pedigree is over! They done it! Oh, they haven't done it!
A tombstone and a begrudging 3 count later from Shawn Michaels, and The Undertaker had won for the 20th time without defeat at WrestleMania. And that brings us to the end of this video. As always, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. And if you enjoyed this one, be sure to check out our video on 10 shocking wrestling moments that made the fans go silent. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.